engaging course, a learning environment, right? A place for people to interact, to earn grades, to kind of go back and forth. But what happens in that course tends to stay in that course. And so with ELIS, you can kind of add this higher level ability to sort and to track and to get more information about what's going on. One of the things that helps us with this is this idea of a program. You can create a program, which is a set of courses, a set of Moodle courses that go together for a certain reason. As we'll see in a couple of my slides, a lot of times it's not just about wanting to know, hey, did a learner complete just this one course? No, you're looking for, did they complete all of these courses? Did they earn their overall certification? You know, course A, B, and C go together for some reason. We want to kind of know that they're trained on something larger than the, you know, just a single learning course. Along with this program, ELIS has some tools in it that allow for automatic enrollment mechanisms, even based on user profile information. So based on characteristics of the user, something that's in their profile, they can automatically be assigned to a learning plan that is that has been pre-made and customized, maybe especially for them. Multiple learning plans can even be assigned, again, all based on profile information that we'll see in just a second. The final part in there, as you can imagine, after you've created this additional organization, reporting is the obvious result of that. Now that you've got new sets of hierarchies of users, whether it's course and content, now you can finally have some reporting. So you cannot just, you're not just limited to the from a single course, but you can pull things like information about a learner's progress through the site as a whole, encompassing every course, every program that they've learned, and even being able to pull back other information on maybe everybody in the site in the course or everybody within a specific user group as well, as we'll get to. ELIS adds, in a nutshell, a lot of extra kind of organizational capabilities to it. One of the keys to ELIS that I find is that it is all about, let's see, that's what I get for playing with this. All right, so in a basic Moodle site, this is kind of my mind map for a basic Moodle site. As I said, you're kind of limited to a course. Everything in Moodle has to be either inside of a course or maybe even just on that front page. So in this kind of imaginary Moodle site for an organization, we've got three categories of courses, kind of management courses, sales courses, and new employee training courses. What happens in one course is kind of an island unto itself. Yes, you can go into budget, you can go into a course called Techniques in Leadership, but even though they're all in the same category, the connection between those three really aren't very apparent. There's no report that you can pull in Moodle Basic in order to know that they've completed all three of those courses to become, you know, a trained manager and things like that, let alone if you wanted to know how they're doing from category to category. ELIS allows us to now then create, take these categories, okay, these kind of the darker orange ones, these categories of courses, and turn them into programs so that now we can better organize and better track the learning of the people in there. Now the key of everything comes down to a feature in ELIS called a user set. Now I like to pick on the user set and kind of start with that because that's kind of because of the user set we can do a lot of other things. At its core, a user set is just a collection of users at the site level that are bound together by some characteristic or for some purpose. The creation of a user set, as you can see from the slide, there's not really that much going on. You just have to kind of give it a name, you can give it a description, and then you can create it a hierarchy. You can kind of tag it as part of a parent user set. So you can have these kind of organizations, these hierarchies of user sets. Maybe at the top level you've got maybe a department, and then underneath that main departmental user set people can belong to maybe their sub-department or their division or down even to their working group. The user sets can be used to kind of identify and organize any type of user. Another important thing is that a user can be part of multiple user sets. I like to kind of use my teaching background as kind of a good example. I taught 8th grade social studies. So if my school was using ELIS to kind of help with its professional development, I might have been part of a user set for middle school teachers, maybe a kind of a subset for 8th grade teachers. I could have also been in a user set for history teachers. And then based on all of those different types of organizational user sets that I'm placed in, I might have been assigned additional professional development choices because it matches up with who I am and what I'm teaching. If you go down below where it says user association, what's going on there is I can actually tag users to be in a user set based on profile information. So if there's a certain field with a certain value, I can use that to just automatically assign somebody to a user set. The cool thing, if you're not familiar with Moodle and how the profile works, is that, okay, transcript style report. Sorry, I just saw your question come in the keys. Okay, so a user association, it would really easily be able to be customized. If you're familiar with the Moodle the Moodle profile, you can add custom profile fields to it. So however you need to define your users, that can be the way that you can then assign people to those user sets. And then the final thing about the user sets that could come in handy is you can actually assign a role to a user set. In many cases, that can be a manager. Okay, so if you've got this user set called sales, then maybe there's a person over sales who can be added to that user set, and they have special permissions over the people in there. So they could be able to see maybe those reports over just their users. And unless you're in that group of people, you're in that user set, they're invisible to other people. Okay, so it's kind of a nice way to almost kind of delegate authority, delegate permission out to different important people within your organization. Now, once we've got them in the user set, then we can kind of, if you can imagine, start taking those user sets kind of as a block and then assigning them to different learning plans. So learning plans can be automatically connected with user sets. From the moment a user is created, if their profile information assigns them to a user set automatically through the auto-associate fields, then at the moment of creation, they could in turn be automatically assigned a learning plan, and you can enroll into the courses. So the first time they even log into the site, they're already presented with exactly what they need to do. There's no searching. It's as simple as, oh, that's what I'm supposed to take. I can go right into the courses, and we can see that. Let's see. So what I've got here are a couple kind of examples of different programs. One of the nice parts about ELIS is that it doesn't have to necessarily be, you know, just one size fits all. I think as you'll see, there's different types of programs that can be built, and how those users are organized, how the content is organized can be done in a few different ways. So I try to kind of map out here a few different examples. And I use mind maps right now. In a few minutes, we'll jump into a site, a live site, and kind of log in as a user. You can kind of see what this might look like from the user's experience. And if we've got some time, I can log in from like a manager's point of view as well so you can see it. So in this mind map, everything that happens in that black box is kind of ELIS, whereas kind of the orangey yellow stuff, those are Moodle courses. So ELIS isn't replacing the Moodle course. To the end learner, they're still going into Moodle. They're still learning everything through that Moodle course. ELIS is kind of acting much like what you wrote in your question, Keith, about it's acting as like a transcript, like a registrar's office at a college, kind of taking in the completion and storing it in kind of a slightly different way, a way that can be organized and reported on much more efficiently than in a Moodle course on its own. So in this kind of sample program, kind of the blue circle where it says Manager Training Program, I create a program. It's very simple to create a program. I'm not actually making content here. I'm just defining a program, saying there's a new program. You have to take 4 courses in order to complete it, and then you define what those 4 courses are. Again, not necessarily creating content, just saying these are the things that need to be done and setting up the completion requirements for them. So in this case, I create a program and I'm going to add 4 courses to it: leadership, manager techniques, team building, and technology. And you can see how they kind of relate, and they do. There's a connection that's formed between ELIS and Moodle that goes out to those different Moodle courses that are available. The other thing is that user set, kind of that purple circle. I've defined a user set called managers, so maybe there's a profile field that can be checked off in their profile that tags them as a potential manager. They're added to the program, and then they're kind of given access to the courses. What happens in Moodle no longer has to stay in Moodle. Their completion is actually pulled into ELIS, and it's stored separate from the Moodle, from the actual Moodle tables, which is nice because, as we'll see in a little bit, it's possible then to actually delete Moodle courses, and the record of completion is stored permanently within the Moodle system. So here's kind of one kind of basic one. In this next one, you'll kind of see a slightly different use case, and this is our new employee training program. So again, we've got the blue program, new employee training. I've got 3 required courses, something called the Coffee Hub, a new employee orientation, and then the introduction to the LMS. Very similar, but you'll notice there's something else there. There's these things called tracks. And what a track could allow you to do is have kind of different versions, different like iterations of the same program. In this case, I've got it set out for, there's like a May version, and then there's a June version. And notice that each one has its own set of Moodle courses. So these might be a case where maybe there's like time-specific material, specific due dates that are inside of those Moodle courses. Maybe they're being actually taught by a different instructor, okay? So it depends on when you get hired, okay? So there's a different user set actually for each kind of hire date. If I'm hired in May, I'm added to that one. If I'm hired in June, I'm added to the different user set, and then assigned to the different track with its own, you know, specific set of courses. The nice thing is at the end of the day, when they go to pull that transcript, it doesn't necessarily matter which employee track they went through. You know, they're still going to be shown as being trained on the new employee training. There's, you know, that's going to be done for them. It might list, you know, who their instructor was or which version of the course they took, but the nice thing is you can take either one of the tracks, you're still earning the overall same program. The same certificate could be printed out at the end. Now, in this case, I have it broken down by time period, but you could imagine it could be just as easily done for maybe different user groups. Say you've got a training program that's available, and maybe you've got different maybe clients or organizations coming to you for training, or different even departments, okay, each with maybe a slightly different version of the training, but it's still kind of the basic content. Well, you have different versions of it, assign different user sets to each one of those versions. To the users in those user sets, it's kind of like they're getting their own thing. What happens to one client or one user set is pretty invisible to what goes on to the other one. They have their own courses. It could be automatically replicated, but it's very distinct, kind of giving you that opportunity to have multiple iterations, versions of the same course with auto-enrollment as well. Now in this final one, and I'm kind of going through it a little quick, so I apologize. If you have a question, please let me know, Keith or Rod. In this final one, I'm trying to show that the course descriptions, those red things, the kind of requirements of a course, they can actually be kind of mixed and matched to create a custom program. So in the first one, you've got this Asia training, and then on the other side, North America sales training. Each one is specific to the region, the people that are going to be trying to sell in that area. 2 of the required courses you'll see are the same, general sales and the sales cycle, but there's kind of this market variation, you know, specific information that's required to work effectively in that particular region. So each one of the programs, while it's similar, has its own kind of separate flavor that kind of makes them different. And so depending on which region you're in, you could be automatically assigned to it. The nice thing about things is, let's say you start off in the Asia market, you go through the training program, you complete Asia, general sales, the sales cycle, but then you are maybe transferred to the North American market. That's fine. If you transfer, your profile field will direct you into the next user set, and you'll be assigned the North American Sales Training 1. But the first 2 courses are already yours. ELIS would remember. ELIS knows, hey, they already completed general sales. They already completed the sales cycle. You don't have to redo those. All you have to do is just kind of earn that final 1. In a lot of ways, it's like kind of a college degree. You know, you might start off trying to become a doctor, so you might start off pre-med, and maybe you don't do too well, and you have to switch degrees. But the nice thing is, a large number of those credits can probably transfer over to your new degree. ELIS kind of works the same way. These courses, these red course descriptions, once you earn them, they're kind of yours forever. And it's not like they vanish just because you might get added to a new program or you might have a new promotion. That's always there for you. It kind of maintains that kind of transcript-like feature that you might be looking for. So again, I went through that a little quick, trying to save us some time, but now let's see it in action. So Moodle site, I'll kind of zoom in a little bit so it looks a little bit bigger on our screen. But this is a Moodle site that we've had ELIS added to. I have to admit, I think we added kind of a sleek looking theme to it as well, so it looks nice. But I'm going to go ahead and log in. And I'm going to log in as a user that I created, Acme1. So this is somebody who works for the Acme Corporation. I'm logging in to kind of find out what I have to do. And it's taking me to, in Moodle 2.9, what's called the dashboard. It's kind of like an alternate landing page. In previous versions of Moodle, if you're familiar with them, Keith, this was sometimes called the My Home page, but Moodle's kind of going to a slightly different term for it. So it's called the dashboard. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and here's this block that I have called the My Learning Plan. And that's how ELIS is going to present itself to an end user. There's a lot more going on. We can take a kind of administrative thing in a second, but I like to kind of start off with just kind of showing that overview from that end user's perspective. So when they log in, again, based on who I am, it's knowing that, you know, there's something about that user. There's something in my profile that's identified me as maybe a potential manager. I'm obviously a new employee, and maybe there's something else for this safety training that I've got to do. So when I look down here, it's adding me to these programs. It knows who I am. These are the courses that have been laid out for me and prescribed for me to take. So I'm going to start off with the manager training, because we kind of talked about that earlier. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go with 2015 safety training. So this is kind of like my, hazardous materials. I need to take it every year. So that's why it says 2015. In 2016, there might be a new version of it, and I've got to get compliant on that as well. In this example, it's using that kind of track-based thing where I'm already pre-enrolled, okay? I've actually kind of taken a few of these. So it's saying, here's those courses that I need to take. I can get more information about the program. I didn't fill in a description, but that could be put in there, credits. Additional information can also be really easily added to this interface, kind of like a user profile where you can add custom fields. You can actually add custom details to all of these different objects, programs and courses and such too. So if you need something there, that's pretty easy to add that in, just like it would be for a user. So in this situation, it's already showing, you can see I'm enrolled in something already. I've already passed it. So it's kind of giving me, again, some more information about the course, how many credits it's worth, its name, its description, and then I can really easily get into the Moodle course by just clicking on the link right there. And again, more information because I've already taken it. It's showing my grade and my status and things like that, even when I completed it. The course, I just added a really simple SCORM activity into it. The course is, again, Moodle. So whatever you're currently using for Moodle, nothing really needs to change. Once they hit that course, it's whatever content that you have in there. So going back out to here, again, some of these I haven't quite finished yet. My status is enrolled, but I haven't completed it. So this is kind of one example where everything's pre-enrolled. I know exactly what I need to take. There's no choice. On the other hand, ELIS can also be used in a slightly different way, where for manager training, notice how it says that I'm not enrolled yet, okay? And that's because perhaps these are being offered in different places, and I need to pick the one that maybe best fits my schedule, okay? So for departmental budgeting, I can expand this out, and there's two options available at this point. There's budget manager training for November, and then there's one in December. So these are different sections, different offerings of the same course. It doesn't really matter in the long run which one I take. I'm still earning the same kind of credit, the same kind of course that will be applied to the program, but ELIS is allowing me, and whoever set up the system is allowing me to kind of choose what best fits my schedule. Now, with that, you'll notice also come some other things, prerequisites. It's actually going to not let me take this managerial techniques until a prereq has been met. In this case, the prereq being this course before it. So until I've actually gone in and completed that course, until I've shown my my abilities to to understand the material, it's actually going to prevent me from signing up. So notice for the other ones, there's two versions of the course that's available. For the managerial techniques, it's not showing it to me. I cannot sign up for it because I haven't met the prereqs. And I think this new employee program is another one where everything's pre-enrolled. There's no choice. It knows exactly what I'm supposed to take. I take it, no big deal. So I can just go straight into it. The last thing kind of about this interface that you might see is that there is a progress bar. So as you kind of go through and as you're completing things, the progress bar changes. And it starts off at red, and then as you complete more, it goes to yellow, and eventually when you're done, it goes to green. When you're done with your program, I've added some links up here for My Learning. When you're done, there's a couple things I can do. I can either go and check out my certificates, which I haven't earned any yet. So it says you've not earned any program certificates. If I had, then I'd be able to actually print off like a PDF, and it would have the name of the program on it, the expiration date of the program if that's there, and some other information that's available to be added on there. The other thing I could do from this interface that I've made available is I can go and print out my transcript. It's going to pre-fill my name. I can't actually run that on anyone else. See, it's blocking me from it. I'm only supposed to be able to do it for myself, obviously. So I can go and show report. And here's my individual user report, kind of a more information about me, my username, first name, last name, email, and so on. And then it's breaking down all the programs that I've been in, which instance, which class of the course I've been enrolled in, and if there's any learning objectives and things like that. So it's kind of giving me that overall transcript for me as an individual user. Okay. The report can be downloaded as a PDF, an Excel, or a CSV as well, so that I could download it and have a copy of it. Now, kind of quickly, what I want to do as well is I'm going to log out, and I'm going to log back in, but this time as a manager. And the manager of Acme is Wiley Coyote. I'm not very original. Okay, so there I am. I've logged in as Wiley Coyote. I'm here to kind of maybe even do some of my own learning. I can go to my own task as a manager. I do have some stuff that's available for me to do, right? But you might have noticed down here in the footer, I've made an extra block appear, okay? That wasn't there for the end user. So this is tied to, again, additional permissions in the system. This person has been given added roles, not only at the system level to be able to see this block, but also over the user set of the Acme Corporation. Okay, so and I've added in a couple buttons, and this is all kind of a nice customized feel. It's just these are just kind of HTML buttons that I added into an HTML block that are easy enough to swap in and out. You know, I even picked a couple of the available reports and I put them in here as links. So additional links, additional reports can be put in here. This is all just kind of a customized interface that I kind of created to show off the simplicity, but also, you know, how easy it is to kind of add some stuff. So if I go and I click on View My Users, it's actually going to take me to a page. I could go any dummy users, but for Wile E. Coyote, he can only see the people that have been added to that user set based on their profile. Okay, and then from here, I could actually just as easily, this icon here would actually let me run that same user report. So I could get a user report for all the people that are there. I can view this icon for tracks. I can view what have they been assigned to. If I wanted to, this role could allow me to assign more tracks if that was something, but I didn't add that to this person's permission. But again, that's a customizable role that could be easily added. So you could actually empower their managers to kind of sort through the available trainings and add new ones, depending on what your setup is like. And finally, I added a link to a report. I called it here the transcript, the location transcript report. But basically, it's the user set. It's a report of all of the users that happen to be in that group. And again, all he sees is Acme. As I said, there's a lot of other groups in here, but his role resides at the Acme level. So that's the only one that he can see. I can do a few different filters for when I want to see completions for. I'm going to say show completed, show incomplete. I want to see program information, and I'll say show report. So it's actually pulling back information for each one of the users. So here's myself, Wile E. Coyote. I've been enrolled in a program, haven't completed it, haven't done much of anything, in fact. Acme 1, that's the user I logged in as before. Notice he's actually done some stuff, and it's showing me the completion date and, you know, his grade that he earned, but hasn't done much of anything else. Again, so on. So you can kind of see it's giving me that kind of overall picture of where my people are at for that kind of group as a whole. The same thing can be downloaded as an Excel or CSV. It's much more workable. As you can imagine, if you download it in one of those formats, you can do pivot tables, you can filter for different things. The PDF looks nice, but you know, you're kind of stuck with that format because it's not in an Excel format. And finally, my screen's just a little bit too big. There, maybe that'll work. Yeah, that's better. I can also schedule this report, okay? So if I know that this is something that I want to have in my inbox every Monday morning so I can keep up with people, set this to run on a schedule. Tell it I want to run on it. These people, this user set, this information, tell it what format I want to deliver it to, who I want to send it to, which is even really powerful because you can actually just input an email. You don't even have to they don't even have to be a user on the system or somebody who uses the system a lot. So you can almost set this up for that, you know, that one manager for some reason who doesn't like to go online. You can set it up for them. It plops into their inbox. They see it Monday morning and they're happy and they don't ever have to even log into the system. And once you hit confirm settings, it's a new job that's added and it'll be processed and it'll happen whenever you tell it to happen. So, so yeah, that's that's kind of my abbreviated version. Like I said, I tried to run through it a little quick, but I also do like to add some time at the end in case you've got any questions. Like I said, you kind of had asked about the overview of progress for a student for all their courses. I showed you kind of 2 reports, but there's a couple other ones that are in there that I could show you as well. In fact, if you want, Keith, I could unmute you if you'd like. I'll also unmute Rod. In case you guys have any questions, we don't have to go through the question thing. You can turn it up a little bit. So you guys are both on mute now, so be careful what you say.
Hey, this is Keith. Thanks for the overview. It's really helpful. My main question was, as a beginner with this, and ELIS just dropped out of the sky to us when we needed it. Thank God we found it, because really there isn't any overarching reporting system that you can easily plug into Moodle to get this kind of data. So it's perfect. But as a novice, we were just wondering if there were some basic steps that you would initially go into a running Moodle site with 400 or 500 users and try to just start with the basics of an overview, providing the users with maybe an overview transcript report like you showed, and the schedule reports are perfect for the clients. So I didn't know if you needed to do everything, if you have to set up tracks and then set up users and then groups and then block reports. So I didn't know if there was a simple way to do that, or if you have to do everything.
Yeah, when it comes, there is a little bit of setup that needs to happen. That's part of the beauty and kind of, in a way, almost the challenge of ELIS being a plugin. However, you can do a lot of it in bulk. Okay, so when I logged in as an admin, you'll see that as an admin now, you see things kind of come alive a little bit. There's options. Here's where kind of ELIS lives for the administrator. Up at the top, you can see the user sets. And they can be nested, so you can kind of see, as I said, there's Acme and Spacely Sprockets, and I made a hospital the other day, and so, but all of this information can be fed in through a CSV file. So rather than having to go through and create each one, if you kind of know the overall structure, you can save yourself a lot of time by typing it out into CSV and uploading it, which also is nice, because then if you mess up, you can run the file in reverse and delete it and kind of start over fresh. The same thing with the actual programs. You kind of create that program, you create the required courses in it and so on, and then they tie back into Moodle. So again, most of it can all be done with a CSV file. It just takes a little bit of planning. Whenever we have somebody come on board with ELIS, part of the package of ELIS involves what we call a smart start, where you kind of get to work with somebody like me to kind of sit down and listen with you, talk about what your goals are for it, make sure that, and even help you maybe even create those import files to kind of get you going and up and running as quick as possible. So there is, whenever we used to, I'll be honest, but we've, the last 4 years or so, we've been much more like, hey, there's something that needs to be done. Part of ELIS involves us helping you to kind of implement that solution.
Yeah, that sounds like a good place to start instead of spinning our wheels for endless hours on it. You have my contact information, correct?
Should, since you registered for it. I can double check if you want to into the chat bubble, and I'll just double check to make sure. It sounds like, are you a current customer of Remote Learner? I hadn't checked the registrations beforehand.
We are not.
Oh, okay. And you know what? There might be, I trust me, I live and breathe ELIS maybe to a fault, and but there might be some other solutions that are available to you as well. ELIS is just kind of one thing on our menu that we can help clients with. ELIS might be great for you, but there might be something else that's a little better. There's a couple other things that we might be able to do to kind of get that overarching reporting structure. There's some other things we could do, not to just kind of pigeonhole you into ELIS. That's a conversation I'd love to have with you. And like I said, we can kind of move on from there. I'd set you up with one of our account executives. If somebody's not already made contact with you, we can definitely kind of begin that process to kind of fill you out for what's the best solution. That's the nice thing I think about our remote learners. We don't have one solution. We want to really try to the thing that's going to best fit your needs.
Yeah, that works. All right, I shot that over to you.
Hey, Frank, this is Rod. I'm with Remote Learner as well. If I can ask you 2 questions, I can get you to the right person right away. Where are you located?
We're in Michigan.
Okay. And you're an educational organization or government?
No, we're more of a consulting firm, software firm.
Okay. Well, we've got somebody in Detroit that can pick up the phone and start talking to you straight away.
Yeah, that'd be great. Go ahead and pass my contact over to them, and we'll look to schedule a call.
Okay. Her name's Audra Weisner.
Okay.
And I'll make sure she gets the information as soon as we end here.
Sounds great. I appreciate it.
Yep. You got the
Is there
benefit
a
of
phone
having
number?
one of our account executives on the line too, so you get everybody.
Is there a phone number she should call you at, or is it best to email? I see the email.
I would email first, just so we could set up a time that works. I know
Okay.
I won't be in much of next week, but yeah, sometime soon I'd like to get that set up.
Okay.
Perfect.
I'll get this to Audra straight away.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll make sure that we follow back with you with a copy of the recording so that you can kind of go back and rewatch this whenever you want if you got some questions. And like I said, hopefully I'll be talking to you pretty soon after Audra has a chance to kind of introduce herself and help you get to know a little bit more about Remote Learner. So,
Perfect.
yeah, if you have any other questions, let me know, Keith.
I will do that. And hey, thanks for your time.
My pleasure. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye now.
Thank you.